on the pulse. Having a successful small business takes dedication, hard work, and building the right dream team. Learn from these experts on how to build your dream team and why you need one. Coming up next. Calling all entrepreneurs. It's Economic Development Week in Prince George's County. The only show in town dedicated to helping Prince George's County businesses. Having the right dream team in place before you take on your first client or write that first invoice is the first step in the right direction of success. I'm not even talking about employees yet, but a foundational team that could save you a lot of time, money, and headaches. Joining me on the pulse today is Chantrell McCormick, Small Business Development Officer for BB&T Bank, Dr. Betty Seltzer, CEO and Agent for Farmers Insurance, and rounding off today's dream team is tax attorney Ruthven Phillip from the law offices of Ruthven Phillip. Thank you all for being here today.
Thank you for having us.
So we know that before you put anything in place or before you start your business, there are certain things you need to have in place first. And one of those things is certain people.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
So we've got a banker.
Yes.
Insurance agent.
Yes.
And, you know, it's usually an accountant and an attorney, but we've wrapped them both up into one here today with you. So why is it important to have these people on your team before you get started?
Well, I like to tell people, I'm a small business development officer, Denise, for BB&T Bank. So I like to tell folks, have your dream team in place. Whatever that dream team means to you that will advocate for the success of your business and recommend overall strategic recommendations from a biannual and annual review. I like to tell folks in my office, I see the good, the bad, and the ugly. Ruthven and I have worked together for a long time. Usually, people are coming, clients are coming to the office in a chaotic phase, like, oh, do you know somebody who does tax attorney? And I'm like, yeah, I do, but had you have worked together from the beginning, we wouldn't be in a repair mode. Similar with business insurance, especially with government contracting. You know, everybody's all gung-ho, they want to go out and get the contract, but you know you have to have bonding insurance for that.
Right, right.
The same with the banking piece. I often tell folks, if you do not have financing in place, do you know a contract can potentially put you out of business? So what I say, farm your dream team, have a consultative approach to it, and have those supporting strategy people in place. So,
Betty, what is the right insurance, or how important is it for the right insurance to be in place, and how does at least for a business owner, and how do they make sure that they are covered, or they're being covered in the right places?
Okay. It's good to have business insurance in place simply to cover your assets. In terms of business, you want to have professional liability. Some people call that E&O, errors and omission. You also want, if you need bonding, performance bonds are important. That gives that company credibility in terms of paying their bills. So it's very important to have the right business insurance in place just to cover yourself. We live in a very litigious society. People will sue you in a minute, so you want to cover your business.
Ruthven?
Yes.
So we know that it is important to make sure, I mean, taxes are just so important. I mean, I talk about taxes throughout the year, but we also, we've talked about, we've had on the show an attorney about how to hire the right attorney. But what does a small business owner need an attorney for?
Okay, great. I want to piggyback off something Betty said. And so she said covering yourself and protecting yourself. As a small business owner, your first step really is to decide what choice of entity am I going to form. Am I going to be a sole proprietor? Am I going to be an S Corp? Am I going to be a partnership? And so having the right choice of business is critical even before you hire your first banker or before you make the decision of insurance. You must decide what structure you are. And how that plays into taxes are so critical. As a sole proprietor, you might get taxed at the highest percentage. And with the new changes in the tax law, you have to consider, should I be a C Corp? Should I be an S Corp? Should I remain as a partnership? And so there's so many dynamics in taxes before we even get to that. But your first decision in in meeting with an attorney is to decide what choice and what formation will my business take.
So that takes me, well, the question that I have is, because I'm usually thinking of those terms, in those terms, is for the CPA, right? Because not everyone has a CPA who is an attorney or a tax attorney.
Right.
Some people, they're separate, okay? They'll have
Correct.
a CPA and they'll have an attorney.
Correct.
So that falls under what you just talked about, the formation of your business and everything. Doesn't that fall under the accounting portion?
I would say no, it falls more under the lawyer's perspective.
Okay.
In that those two individuals should be working closely on behalf of the entity, on behalf of the entrepreneur, on behalf. And so all the team players here this afternoon, we all talk to each other all the time.
Okay. Okay.
You know, I talk to Chantrell several times a day sometimes, just working on behalf of a client. Because something legally, I mean, most recently we had a client that she needed some services for, and we met, we discussed the issue, and through my services, the client was able to obtain the loan.
So you all work together?
Yes, I do want to piggyback on
Yes.
what Vince said.
Okay.
I have two examples. Like what Vince said, it was time is of the essence in business. Any small business owner knows that. So first of all, with BB&T, we pride ourselves on the perfect client experience. What does that mean? That means if you work with myself, and I had these kind of qualities about myself prior to working for the company, but it just works good because they align. The perfect client experience means that I'm responsive, that even if I don't have an answer for you, you'll hear from me by the close of business. That I am reliable, so I'm going to do what I say I'm going to do. That I'm very competent, and that I'm empathetic. We don't product push like Vince said, we're very consultative. But to go off what Vince said, the client were under a time constraint. The client did not have a relationship with an attorney. They were doing ownership changes. And a lot of folks, you know, I always tell folks, prepare for Mad Day. Everything is good when everybody's all on one accord. And I'm like, yeah, if the three of us own a business, like, it's fine, yeah, let's shake hands on it. It'll be okay if we want to reduce my ownership until Mad Day comes. Then that's when legal comes in. But
What is Mad Day?
Mad Day means that we don't like each other anymore. Whether it's personal divorce or for a business, we are dismantling the business. I don't want to be in business with you anymore. So now, oftentimes, like I said at the beginning, I see the good, the bad, and the ugly. That's when things get ugly on the legal side. That's where having that partnership with an attorney is so very important. Because Vin and I have a very good business relationship, I was able to call him and say, Vin, this client, they do not have a relationship with their attorney. Can you please come with me to meet them, let them discuss what they need, and let's see if we can work together to get this document expedited. Not only was he professional, he got the document expedited. First of all, you get double for your money, double for your trouble with Vin, because like you said, he's an attorney. He also has that accounting background. So
does that mean you double charge?
No, ma'am.
No.
As his banker, I would recommend that he does. You are getting two services, But not only that, because my clients trust me and we have such a relationship, not only did he walk away with that one-time need of a service document, he's also been able to meet with them, made an introduction. They're meeting for other legal potential services. So not only did he help a client, he will potentially pick up a client. So that's why it's very important to work closely, to have those relationships in place.
Okay. Absolutely. So how do you find the right banker, or and develop that relationship? Why, and what do I need in order to create that relationship?
Well, I say this. Everybody say, oh, I'm good with my bank, I'm good. And I always say, great. I'm not trying to replace what you have I'm not trying to replace what you have. If you have a banker who is advocating for you, that's making strategic recommendations, that is inviting you to business networking opportunities. That turned into a networking opportunity for Vin, because he is in business for himself as well. He's one of our business clients. However, if you have that banker that's not only meeting with you to take a deposit from you, or that's not very transactional, that you're calling them to say, I need this. No, you need a banker that says, hey, Denise, look, I know it's the new year. We're in the second quarter now. Like, what are you working on for the remainder of the year? Have you done your tax returns? Did you file an extension? You want a banker that pretty much knows almost as much as your business that you do. I say in front of your attorney, your business insurance, your CPA, your banker, you got to be very transparent. And if you have a banker that's advocating for you, great. Then we want to compliment and add value to that.
Okay, so Betty, most businesses don't think about their insurance agent, okay? Because, and I know for me, I was of the mindset that I only need an insurance person for my vehicle, you know? Now, I mean, and I am a small business owner, and I have learned differently now that I have had to put different insurance in place. But how important is it to have a personal relationship with your insurance agent?
It's very important. First of all, your business agent or your insurance agent will advocate for you in terms of being more responsive. If someone calls me up at a moment's notice, I will be more responsive by having that relationship, because I know that person's needs. Also, I am available to analyze what they have and any gaps in coverage that they may have and they need.
Okay.
So it's quite important.
Okay. Okay. So can you give me an example?
I have an example of that.
Okay.
I was going to say of a person who needed insurance and didn't have it, you know, but they didn't know that they needed it until after the fact.
Oh, yes.
No, I don't have that insurance.
Okay.
That example, but
so a person that needed insurance and didn't know it until after the fact.
Yes.
Okay. There was a situation in terms of an individual getting sued because of they did not have the proper coverage. It was dealing with advertisement and the way that they labeled some advertisement. They were accused of, it was an accusation that they borrowed another competitor's advertisement and got sued. So that E&O insurance was quite important. That professional liability insurance came into play.
Okay, we're going to take a quick break, but we'll come right back. Don't go away. More on building your dream team when the Pulse returns.
This is the story of a boy who didn't talk for a long time. The boy liked things to always be the same. Any changes would scare and upset him. The unknown was an unfriendly place. The boy was very sensitive to lights and sounds. So he built secret hiding places where they couldn't get in. The boy didn't like looking people in the eye. He wasn't trying to be mean, it just made him feel uncomfortable. Sometimes he would flap his arms again and again.
One day I found out I have something called autism. My family got me help. Slowly, I found my voice and learned all the ways I could live with it better.
Early intervention can make a lifetime of difference. Learn the signs at autismspeaks.org.
Welcome back to The Pulse. Today's show is dedicated to building your business dream team. My guests today represent the first line of defense dream team every business owner should have. So, Ruthven, let's go back to having an attorney for your business. You talked about starting out your business and forming the structure of your business. That's in the beginning.
Correct.
What else is an attorney used for?
Attorneys use for tax in my case. Lots of times my clients get notices from the IRS or from the Comptroller of Maryland saying, hey, you know, you owe us a certain amount in taxes. And what do you do then? Most people, their standard approach might be to bury their heads in the sand or scream. I don't know what to do with this. Here's where the valuable service. Or I meet clients sometimes through Chantrell. The banking system where the IRS might issue a levy. Now, you know that could change your whole world. If your bank accounts are frozen and you cannot get access to your money, lots of things can happen, bad things can happen. And so you get a notice from the IRS saying you owe us 30, you owe us 40. Now, one particular type of taxes I am concerned about with small business owners, and that is something called trust fund. Trust fund essentially is you have employees, you withhold their FICA, their Social Security, and their federal personal taxes, but you fail to remit them to the federal government. You never send the money into Comptroller of Maryland or the IRS. And then, because small businesses incur a lot of cash flow issues. And so the money is used, and I'll get to it. You fail to do that, that's criminal activity. And so you have a lot of small business owners just trying to make ends meet and not remitting this kind of taxes over to Comptroller of Maryland or to
So you see
IRS.
that a lot?
Seeing quite a bit of that, seeing quite a bit of audits. That's the other part that a lot of small business owners run into, a lot of tax situations where they owe the IRS because sometimes, and what you find is a lot of them have accountants, not necessarily CPAs, but a lot of accountants who prepare these returns. Now what they do is just prepare the return, but when they start getting audited, they're not around to represent the person.
Oh.
And so that's a big difference, because what they tell you is you signed off on the return. You should know what's on the return. They have no idea. A business person, an entrepreneur has no idea what is on his or her
I mean, the regular
taxes.
tax-paying citizen doesn't know what's on their
going
return.
So, you have a Schedule C, which is generally for small business and sole proprietors. You file, and there are lots of information on there, but you sign the return, the IRS is taking a position. Listen, this is your return, you're to own it. You're to take accountability for it. And now you don't know what these deductions are. You don't know what these exemptions are on your tax return. And you end up owing. Most recently, I had a client, let's say something as simple as your charitable contributions. So I had a client who the IRS denied them charitable contributions. And this was over $25,000.
Wow.
12 of the contribution, 12,000 of it was from church. The difference related to things that were donated to the Salvation Army
Okay.
and institutions like that. And all they had was the receipt, but the IRS denied them, and we worked through the process. And I'm happy to say today, all debt was forgiven.
Okay.
And they owe zero.
Okay. Betty.
Yes.
Do you have clients or work with clients who are in government contracting where, because I know that insurance comes into play when bidding on contracts?
Yes.
Okay. Can you talk about that?
Okay, so there are customers that are applying for government contracts. In some cases, they may not have the required insurance that's necessary in terms of bonds. So we offer performance bonds to our clients, as well as, I want to piggyback on something that Ruthven said. Business interruption insurance. Some of the policies have business interruption coverage up to $25,000. In the event that something happens to the business, then that cash flow is still available.
I mean, business interruption. I mean, what is that?
That means if let's say Katrina, for instance, people that had businesses, they were not able to operate those businesses. They were closed, but they still had cash flow from the policies, money coming in from the policy to pay their bills. They still have bills to pay.
Okay. Okay. Still have bills to pay. Okay. Okay. Now we have, yes, we have a Dream Team workshop coming up on May 23rd. Chantrell, can you talk about that?
So the Dream Team workshop is going to be more of what you're hearing today. It is, why is it important to have a Dream Team? And today we're talking about a banker, an attorney, and an insurance agent. But personally, I said, what's your Dream Team? Who is it on your business Dream Team that is making your business go from here to the next level? So I'm very excited. This will be one of many that I've done with you before. So really excited and really excited to come out and give the information.
Oh, right. And now that's going to be on May 23rd at 10 a.m. And it's going to be at 1400 McCormick Drive at the Office of Central Services. So that's going to be offered for business owners in the area that want to come out and learn about that. You can register for that at diversity.mypgc.us, right?
Yep, you got it.
Okay, so in terms of the Dream Team, if I had to pick one or two, and I'm not ready to get to the other one yet.
Okay.
Who should I have on my team first?
It depends on what you're trying to do. So I think the need will facilitate what are your main two key players.
Okay.
If you are going for a government contract, well, unless you have the cash flow, you may not necessarily need a bank. If you are, you have a business line of credit, or you have the finances in place to carry a job before you get paid 30, 60, 90 days out, then hey, the banker can step out. You don't need a banker need at this time, but you will certainly need business bonding insurance. You will certainly need an attorney to review those documents. There was an example of a young lady who was a new business owner, and she had a commercial cleaning company. She was bidding for a university commercial cleaning contract. She won it. It was her first contract, and she won it. However, like I said at the beginning, most business owners don't realize certain contracts could put you out of order. So, not out of order, I'm sorry, out of business. So she got the contract, but she did not read the fine print. Who's the fine print expert? That's Ruthven. So she didn't realize that contract. She was responsible for buying toilet paper for the whole university, and that's a lot of supply for a small business owner. So I would say, depending on the need, is what's your main two persons. So that would have been insurance and legal, for that matter. If you need a financial need, then maybe a banker and insurance.
Well, I think you actually need a banker as one of the key persons up front, because once you incorporate and register your business, the next step in the process is to open up a bank account.
Okay. But it makes sense.
So starting that relationship quite early is a must. No one will do business with you unless you have a bank account. So you have a name of your organization. You register in Maryland, let's say. You set up a corporation. You get a tax ID number. The next thing you have to do is open a bank account.
Okay.
And so I think bank is critical.
Okay.
And I agree. I second that.
No. In order to move forward, you actually have to open a bank account. And the banks need to see your tax ID number and your incorporation documents. You can do nothing further without those things.
So would you say you can't have one without the other? Out of all you three?
And then like Ruthven said earlier, and you said as well, we want to add a CPA to that mix. You just have the double for your money with Vin because he has that accounting background. But definitely CPAs work very closely with, when I know I'm speaking from the banking standpoint, if you are applying for a business loan, then I need to work very close proximity with your CPA. If I need a balance statement or income statement, I need to be able to pick up the phone and say, hey, Mr. CPA, can you, Denise has given you the authority to speak with me, can you email me that document so we can review it together. I might have a question. I see on this line item you did that. Can you tell me more about that? And so I would definitely add that fourth piece.
Does a relationship with the banker make it easier for them to get a business loan?
I'm going, no, but I would say the relationship to me is everything, because like, as I said at the beginning, you're going to advocate. So let's just say, for example, between 2007 and 2009, the market crashed. So things kind of slowed down from a financial standpoint, but then back when 11, 12, things start picking up. If you have that relationship, I can say, okay, during these years, this is what happened. If a business owner ran into a rough patch, you can tell the story, and that's what I mean by advocate, because you know more about that individual. And loaning and lending, underwriting notes is very important, because you look at deals all day long. If we don't have a relationship, nobody has put those notes on, okay, this company has gone through this in 2008, but since then they have rebounded on X, Y, and Z. You can tell the story, as opposed to this happened in 2009, there's no notes. Nobody knows anything. It just looks like you were a bad pair in 2009. You're okay now, but why? So I would say, yes, it does make it not easier, but it makes it back to the advocating point where people can advocate on behalf of your client.
Okay.
And can I just say also, for the performance bonds, you also need a financial statement, both personal and for your business. So that's where a CPA can also come into play. But you can also do a personal statement. We have the sheets, the accord forms that an individual could fill out on their own.
Okay, so tell me what a performance bond is.
A performance bond, basically what that does is say that an individual, a business, will perform. They will carry out their contract in a certain manner, that they have the proper supplies, the financing to carry out that contract.
And without that performance bond does what for the business owner?
It actually protects the business owner, but also who they have the contract with is like an additional insured for that person to guarantee that that payment will be made, or that they will guarantee performance. That the
So if a company does not or is not able to perform on that contract, then the government, in this case, let's just say, will receive money from the bond?
They can receive money from the bond.
Okay.
Yes, they can.
Okay.
If the business does not carry out.
Okay. And how does a business qualify for a bond?
They actually apply for that bond through me. I have the tools to help them apply for a bond.
Okay. And what do they need to apply? What are the qualifications?
The length of time in business, usually 3 years in business. They need collateral or funding to say that they have the money that up front. Again, a banker could come into play. They may have finances through a banker. But we're looking at longevity in terms of how responsible they are, any type of negative history they had in paying bills. So we look at the history of that individual.
Okay.
And I say, Denise, that's where back to the relationships come in play. And I think Ruthven even said trust the relationships, because oftentimes from either a CPA, an attorney, or business insurance, or either business vendors, people want letters of credits. And I think that is what Betty is referring to, like slow pay, how do you pay your bills, what's the average balances in your account, how business savvy, not financially savvy, are you equipped to handle insurance bonding or the contracts themselves.
What I've found is that sometimes doing business with people who need a license is critical, because then the standard of performance is higher. If I'm working with a CPA, I know that he or she is more likely to provide quality service because they don't want to lose their license. So it's important to work with people who sometimes have a license attached to their performance. That sort of drives their behavior, if you will.
Now you all work in the community as well, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Absolutely.
All right. Let's get excited about that, right? So tell me a little bit about that.
So back to trusted relationships. Yesterday, BB&T's African American Affinity Business Resource Group had a women's business networking event that we did yesterday. It's called the B3 event. Balance Business, Beauty, and Balance event. And that's where, when you have trusted partners, you can have them come out, speak on your behalf. Vin and I have worked together for the women that he works with transitional housing. You want to speak about that?
Yeah, sure. A little bit of HOC. Work with those women who are individuals who are in the program and have to buy their first home. We work with them sometimes out of Montgomery County, and I work with the director, Ms. Julian, directly.
Listen, I want to thank you all for coming on the show today, because this is such important information. Business owners need to know what they need to have in place before they start their business. So I want to thank you all very much, and I look forward to having you back on the show again.
Yes.
Thank you, Denise.
Thanks, Denise.
Okay, and that's our show for today. I want to thank the Dream Team assembled here today: Chantrell McCormick, Dr. Betty Seltzer, and Ruthven Phillip, for all of your helpful tips and advice. This show and previous episodes are posted on our website, diversity.mypgc.us, and click on the pulse. We are on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram at PGC Diversity, and our YouTube channel is The Pulse TV. Don't forget to join our Small Business Club to spotlight your business on the show. Send an email with the link to your company website to sdddOutreach@co.pg.md.us. I'm Denise Roberts, and remember, in Prince George's County, your success is our success.